Welcome back, folks, to the character biographies of Traveller. When we last left off, we talked about Edwin Mann, the Navy soldier. A man who flew through the stars and fought among them. The next character fights much like Edwin, and yet not like Edwin, for he is from Kamimu, and his name is Conard. Conard was born among the indigenous nomadic desert tribes of Kirmemoo, a planet second closest to the sun in the Esau system. With little surface water and mostly covered by desert, the indigenous population lead a nomadic lifestyle, on an eternal search for water and food and resources. Conard was born into one of these tribes. Born to a mother who unfortunately died in childbirth, and a father of considerable age for that planet, a man called Almankar, a breeder of triraptors, one of the beasts that was ridden, native to Kamimu, a large three-legged raptor. Conard from a very early age proved to be very, very capable at surviving in the harsh desert world. Not all manage. And when it came time for him to choose a role, he chose to be a warrior. One who focused more on protecting people from harm than from scavenging and searching. For even in the desert wastes there were still bandits, and people who sought to deal them significant ill, steal their resources, or just flat out kill them. At this, Conard excelled, slowly honing his body and learning the skills of survival as he did so. The first 4 years in his position, he gained useful skills, the ability to ride animals, and the ability to scavenge, learnt on his various training exercises from the people who searched for food and water. He also at this point learnt how to ride triraptors in particular, and was promised by his father that when it came such a time that he would need to choose his own fate, that he would be provided one that would be bred specifically for him. His second 4-year term as a barbarian of the desert lands, he learnt even more so how to survive in general, learning a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of skills here and there, and a general knowledge for everything. Living life on the edge, he increased that skill even more so, hearing words and phrases and remembering them. On Kamimu, it is action that is favoured above much else, for if you were to delay too long, you could lose your life. Having the information on hand to survive is very important, and it is a skill that Conard was learning quickly. He continued to rise in the ranks of the tribe, and he learned much in that time, becoming smarter for it. In his third 4 years, he grew even stronger still, continuing to thrive in the harsh desert lands, and it was at that point that the Imperial Navy vessels landed on Kamimu, searching for people to draft into the military. All citizens of the Third Imperium have a right to their freedom, but also the Third Imperium has the right to draft when necessary, for a fixed 4-year term of mandatory military duty, in one form or another. The Karak uprising that had occurred recently in history had dealt a terrible blow to the military strength of the subsector, and while people were being trained up through official means to take over vital positions, the military found it necessary to recruit people in draft. It was Kamimu that they had travelled to for this, and word had spread amongst the people of Conard. They tracked him down and sought him, among with a few others of his tribe, to be drafted. At first resistful and almost resentful of the prospect of being removed from the people he swore to protect. The leader of the tribe, at that point a young man called Ortho, went into negotiation with the captain that was there with guns ready, but not raised. Ortho conveyed to the tribe that one of the benefits of them joining is that they would be paid, and that they would be able to use this money to bring back vital and essential supplies, tools and materials they could not easily access on Kamimu. When presented with this, an opportunity to help his tribe, Conard softened slightly to the prospect of joining these strange people, and went with them into the stars. The 4 years spent in the Star Marines was a very unusual time for Conard. In many ways he did not adapt well, for he was not one for routines and schedules like they had him want to do. He was disobedient. He didn't like the types of authority that they dished out, but he did learn very well, and he learned how to use battle dress equipment, fully enclosed, servo-driven suits of armor. He also learned how to fight in fistfights, a side effect of getting into one too many brawls during his time. He gained specialist training from a fitness instructor on how to help improve his endurance, and he also gained the ability to fight better with swords. It was at this point that he served under Edwin Mann during an important military naval engagement on a ship that had rebelled from its traditional chain of command. While not a traditional soldier, Conard excelled in ship-to-ship combat, and when the option was given for him to board through the airlock, the dissenting soldiers on the other side were not ready for the whirling dervish of death that Conard was. He may not have been that skilled with a gun, but inside a ship a sword is far more preferable. There were not many people that met Conard as an enemy that survived that day. And the payment that he took for his time in the Star Marines was a testament to how useful they thought he was. They offered him the opportunity to stay, but Conard refused, for his place was with his people at Kamimu, where he returned with money, tools, materials, those bought with the help of Edwin Mann. Once back home, and outfitted with the help with some grateful officers, with subdermal armor in his chest, he continued just as he had before, surviving and thriving in the desert environment, his reputation even more fearsome now that he had travelled amongst the stars and fought against enemies there. He was given the opportunity to advance the benefits of the tribe with a risky but rewarding adventure, delving into a crashed spaceship that had been there for many years in search of valuable materials and resources. They succeeded in their endeavour, bringing back many useful items and trinkets. It was at this point that Conard decided that perhaps it was time for him to settle down. He was growing older. He was 38 years old, and not many warriors lasted that long. But so skilled and so knowledgeable was Conard that Ortho asked him to continue. He only asked. He never demanded anything of Conard, but Conard accepted, knowing that the tribe still needed him. and in a way, he still needed them. So for the next additional 4 years, he carried on in his duties, protecting the tribe, growing stronger, growing more powerful, and more respected amongst the other people. It was at this point that the Hyperore Mining Company landed and established a mining operation legally. The population of Kirmemoo increased fourfold at that point, but all external employees, technicians, mining operatives, it shook the landscape of Kamimu that now the indigenous population were no longer the dominant population on their own planet. It was at this point that Conard gained a valuable ally in a blacksmith called Kaltan, able to forge powerful blades of Kamimu steel, a rare material on the planet, and it was there that he got his signature weapon, a long sword befitting a warrior. And it is at that point in his career as a protector of his tribe that the story kicks off, and Conard will be swept up in events that he might not at first understand, but will be integral to. Conard is the oldest of the Traveller characters, at the age of 42. He is taller even than Yealand, and strong, with muscles built not for brute strength necessarily, but for endurance and perseverance. A man you would not want to arm wrestle, for he would beat you purely when you ran out of stamina. What little hair he has on his head is completely white, a combination of age and sun bleaching. His skin tanned from years of exposure to the hot Kamimu sun. He moves with an unapologetic grace, as in his culture, to hesitate is potentially to die, so he does not move in small and wasteful steps. For when he wants to do something, he goes and does it, with little hesitation. Normally on his duties in Kamimu, Conard will wear the traditional garb of a white, light material pair of robes, with equally light-coloured clothing underneath, to keep air circulating and to reflect the sun's rays. But when on other planets, he wears more standard clothing, simple shirt, trousers and shoes. But no matter which set of clothing he's wearing, slung across his shoulder is the scabbard for his blade of Kamimu steel, which has seen many foes come and go in its time. Conard is a man that's quick to the point, and quick to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. He is a man who values what he can carry, and not what you can't. For you have to be able to be mobile in the Kirmemoo desert. And so, he tends to carry everything that he can with him, except his Triraptor hatchling. Relatively young still by Triraptor standards, it's a very large beast. In time it will grow into a animal that he will be able to ride into combat. An unusual echo from an era gone by when knights would charge into combat against their sworn enemies. So, Conard, skills, craft knowledge, and physique is most important. Things you can carry with you, or knowledge you can carry inside your mind, are always there, and are thus the most important. A contact may be able to help you, but a contact is not there with you all the time. But what he can carry is. Now, Conard, a famed and skilled warrior, both on-world and off-world. Less famed off-world, but that can change. Conard is still living the ordinary life of his people, but that will change when he will receive a communication from his longtime friend Edwin Mann, asking something of him. When we come back, folks, we will talk about the final and fourth character in the Traveller crew. I'll catch you next time, and I'll see you then. Later.